The calibraphone whose spoon was removed is tummy on account of its teeth. If its teeth were removed, it is tummy on account of its spoon. An applicator whose spoon was removed is tummy on account of its tip, and if the tip was removed, it is tummy on account of the spoon. The stylus whose nib was removed is tummy on account of the eraser, and if the eraser was removed, it is tummy on account of the nib. Zoma Terra. That's right. Okay. Whose spoon was removed is tummy on account of the fork. If the fork was removed, it is tummy on account of the spoon. And the same applies to the teeth of a tiller. The measure for all of these is as much as necessary in order to do their work. A blade that was damaged is tummy until the majority of it is removed. If its socket is broke, it is tahor. An axe whose broad blade was removed is tummy on account of its splitting blade. If its spinning blade was removed, it is tummy on account of its broad blade. If its socket broke, it is tahor. A fire shovel whose scoop was removed is tummy since it is like a hammer. These are the words of Meir, but they can come in the rule of tahor. A saw whose teeth were removed, one from every two is tahor. And if there remains a sitz measure in one place, it is tummy. The scalpel, the plane, and the auger that were damaged are tummy. If the cutting edge was removed, they are tahor, and all these utensils that are broken into are tummy, except for the auger. The plain block alone is tahor. Okay.
Yeah. Continuing the list of damaged utensils, machat, a needle, shinital charira or ukta, whether its eye or its point is removed, it is tahor because it's no longer usable as a needle. The needle needs both ends in order to function. Okay, but if you stuck it into a piece of wood in order to stretch some material so that you could do a weave through it, then suddenly it's become useful again. And now it's been redesignated as a utensil, and it gets tumah. Shel sakayin, the needle of the sack makers, shenital charira. If its eye broke off, it's still tameh mipnei koseva because it's still usable as a stylus, and that's part of its normal function. It can be used to scrape in wax because it's like the sack maker's needle is a big one. So it's something that is commonly used to write with, and therefore it's not been rendered useless by it has not been rendered useless by breaking off the eye. However, nital ukta, if the point is broken off Torah, the point is the whole point. Okay, shall mituach, but if it's used for stretching, ben kach or ben kach tamea, again it's the same as the needle. If it's being used for stretching, it's still useful. Machat shehel chaluda. What happens if a needle gets rusty? Im ma'keves tafira tahora. If it prevents you from effectively sewing, then it is now tahor. Ve'im lav tamea. But if not, it's still usable. Then it is tameh. Okay. Tzinora shipshata. Okay, so this is a small fork, which the commentary says it refers to a small fork with curved tines that was used to turn over roasting meat. So if it's straightened, it can no longer be used. We don't have to get too deep into visualizing what the key does, but basically the point is that once it can no longer be used for its designated purpose, it is tahor. Kafafa, if he retwisted it so that it would be bent again, chazra letumasa. So even though it was tahor, it returns to its original tumah. That's that din of Chazal that we said that midrabanan, it returns to its original tumah, so that people, for one of those three reasons why we said that the Chazal were concerned that people shouldn't start turning start trying to circumvent the laws of tumah in Tara in order to make things more convenient. That was one of the reasons anyway. Okay. General rule over here. So if wood is secondary to the metal, if it serves the metal, it's tameh, and metal serves the wood, it's tahor. You look after what's the ikar part of the kli and judge the kli according to that. How so? So if you've got a kli that's the gate key that's entirely made of wood, but the bit is made out of metal, the part that actually turns the lock, that's what we judge it by, because that's the functional piece. Okay, so it's judged as a kli mateches, and the whole thing is susceptible to tumah. Okay, or conversely, if the whole thing is made out of metal, but the pin, the bit that turns the lock is made out of wood. It's tahor because it's a kli eitz pashut that doesn't have a kli, that doesn't have a base kibble, doesn't have a receptacle. Similarly, tabas shamateches v'chosam shel almog. So you've got a metal ring that's got a signet made out of almog, which in modern Hebrew is coral, and coral comes out of the sea, which makes it tahor. Okay, so that but that nonetheless, the ring is the ikar part of it, and that is tameh. Conversely, a tabas shel almog, if the ring is made out of almog and the signet is made out of metal, that's tahor. Hashen shebatas. Now, this is like a little more tricky because we spoke about keys and locks before. So now this is also talking about a plate or shebat patachas, or of a gate key, shebat maftech, or something of a standard key. The tooth is tameh on its own. So the thing is that we spoke about this before, where if it's broken and it no longer serves a purpose, it's difficult. We don't use this kind of technology anymore. It's obsolete. So I don't actually have a clear picture, and ArtScroll doesn't even have a picture of what it actually looks like. But tachlis, it's something where the pin itself still has an independent use even if it's removed. So we have to just sort of retrofit and say, okay, it's a situation where this piece is actually useful by itself. Otherwise, it wouldn't be tameh.
Okay. It gives a little description. It gives a written description of what it is.
That's right. It refers to a metal piece that acts as the bit for a standard key. It's tameh on its own. Because it's functional on its own, for it can be used to unlock doors even without being attached to the shaft of a key. And I have no idea how that would work.
Yeah.
I don't know how it would open it. I don't have a picture of it. But my lack of imagination shouldn't stop us from understanding that if it has an independent function, then it's still tameh. Okay. Grapnels. Right, there's a picture of a grapnel. It's a piece that's meant to hook onto lots of different things. So Ashkelonian grapnels, that's the design. So it broke mostly, but there's still useful hooks inside them. They're still tameh because they still can perform part of their original function. Okay. Maber, okay, a whole bunch of implements that all have teeth. Okay, so maber is a pitchfork, a mizre is a winnowing fork, magov is a rake, v'chein masrek shel rosh, a head comb. Shenitla achas mishinehem v'asan shel mateches. So the whole thing was made out of wood, or in modern terms, plastic, and you removed one of the teeth and replaced it with a metal tooth. So that one metal tooth actually brings the whole thing into the din of kli mateches, which means the whole thing becomes tameh. Okay. So interesting that it's judged according to the most machmir part of it, because look at that last footnote on 603. Although these tools do not have receptacles, if they contain even one metal prong, they're susceptible to tumah because they're defined as metal utensils. Like the key bits in the previous Mishnah, the prongs are considered primary, as it is with the prongs that the work of these tools is done. And just as even one metal bit of a key defines the entire key as a metal utensil, as the previous Mishnah ruled, so too just one metal prong defines these tools as metal utensils. Okay, so it's a chumrah over here, and this is what Rabbi Yeshua comments on this. Al kulan amar Rabbi Yeshua devar chidush chidshuch sofrim ve'eni ma'ashiv. Says it's pele to me, says Rabbi Yeshua. Why does it go after the minority? Why do we take this one metal piece and say it goes after this? It should go after the rov. All right, but he says, I don't understand it. I can't answer for it, and I can't argue against it. He accepts the ruling. He's not trying to argue with it, but he says, I don't understand why it would be this way. But nonetheless, the halacha stands. Okay, and that's our 3 new Mishnayos.
Okay, and we are on to
Yud Vav.
If a barrel displayed a hole and the sediments blocked it, they have protected it. If one plugged the hole with a vine, it does not protect until one plasters the sides. If there were two vines, they do not protect until one plasters the sides and between one vine and the other. Regarding a board that was placed over the mouth of an oven, if one plastered the sides, it protects. If there were two boards, they do not protect until one plastered the sides and between one board and the other. If one joined them with sinum or with shugmin, one need not apply plaster in the middle. An old oven that was within a new oven, and then was the cedra over the mouth of the old oven. If the old oven is removed and the cedra would fall, then everything is tummy. But if not, everything is tahu. A new oven which was within an old oven, and there was a cedra over the mouth of the old oven, and if there is less than a handbreadth between the new and the old oven, everything within the new oven is tahu. Regarding stew pots placed one within the other and the brims are even if the sheretz is in the upper or lower stew pot, it is tamei and the rest are tahu. The pots were perforated to the extent that the liquid would enter. If the sheretz is in the upper pot, all the pots are tamei. If the sheretz was in the lower pot, it is tamei, but all the other pots are tahu. If the sheretz is in the upper pot and the lower pot extends above it and the lower one pot is tamei, if the sheretz is in the upper pot and the lower pot extends above it, any pot that contains enough beverage to moisten it is tamei.
Okay, I can. Next.
And the midos.
Okay. David.
Those in the north, the wood chamber and those in the north, the wood chamber, the diaspora chamber, the chamber of hewn stone regarding the wood chamber. Eliezer ben Yaakov and I said, I forgot what purpose it served. Abba Shaul says it was the Kohen Gadol's chamber and it was behind the other two chambers, and the roofs of all three chambers were the same height. The diaspora chamber, there is a well. There, a well was located, and a wheel was placed over the well. And from there, drinking water would be supplied to all the people in the courtyard. The chamber of hewn stone and the great Sanhedrin of Israel would sit and judge the priesthood. A Kohen in whom a disqualification was found would clothe himself in black and wrap his head in black, and would leave the chamber and go. A Kohen in whom no disqualification was found would clothe himself in white and wrap his head in white, and he would enter the court and serve with his brethren, the Kohanim. They would make a day of celebration to thank God, so no disqualifications were found in the descendants of Aaron the Kohen, and thus they would proclaim, blessed is the omnipresent, blessed is he, for no disqualifications were found in the descendants of Aaron, and blessed is he who chose Aaron and his sons to stand and serve before God in the chamber of the Holy of Holies.
Okay, and Keilim.
Keilim. You didn't tell me we were doing Keilim. I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Okay, you need to get it?
Okay. Right now. Keilim.
Problem.
We didn't do this yesterday. Okay, here we go. Okay. Here we go. A bird katos is offered below the altar's red line, and the animal katos is offered above the red line. A bird ola is offered above the red line, and an animal ola is offered below the red line. If he deviated in this case or in that case, the offering is invalid. The order of pairs of bird offerings as follows. In the pairs brought for an obligation, one bird is a katos and one is an ola. In pairs brought for vow offerings, the donated offerings, they are all olas. What is a vow offering? One who says it is hereby incumbent upon me to bring an ola offering. And what is a donated offering? One who says the bird is hereby sanctified as an ola offering. What is the difference between vow offerings and donated offerings? Only that regarding the vow offerings, if they died or were stolen, he was responsible for replacing them. And regarding donated offerings, if they died or were stolen, he is not responsible for replacing them. Okay.
One more.
Katos bird which mingle with a number of ola birds or an ola bird which mingle with a number of katos birds. Even if one such bird offerings mingled with 10,000 bird offerings of the other type, they must all be left to die. A katos bird which mingled with an obligatory bird, a pair of bird offerings, there are none valid other than the number of katos birds in the obligatory pair. And likewise, ola offering birds which mingle with an obligatory pair of bird offerings, there are none valid other than the number of ola birds in the obligatory pair. These rules apply whether the obligatory bird offerings are more numerous and the voluntary bird offerings are less numerous, or whether the voluntary bird offerings are more numerous and the obligatory bird offerings are less numerous, or whether they are both equal in number.
Okay.
Sanhedrin.
The chorus.
Sorry, I took that out. I moved it. What did I do with it? I moved it. Oh, it's right here. When you said Keilim, I moved it. Okay. Vav Aleph.
Just
On account of the
hold
following,
on, just give me a second. I've got a call coming through here.
On account of the following blemishes, a bakor may be salted. Its ear is not in the cartilage, not in the skin, or it is slit, though nothing is missing, or it has a big hole as big as a vetch, or it has dried up. What is considered dried up? Anything that is punctured but does not emit blood. But Yosef ben Mesulam says it is so dry that it crumbles. An eyelid that is punctured, knots, or slit, and there is a cataract in its eyes, or commingling, or a snail-shaped, snail-like growth, or a berry-shaped growth. What is a commingling? The white breaks through the ring and enters the black. But if the commingling is in the black and enters the white, there's not a blemish, or no blemishes in the white. White flecks of water that are permanent. What are permanent white flecks? Any remaining 80 days. Vanina Ben Atikno says we examine it 3 times, and within 80 days, 80 days. What is a permanent water? If it ate fresh and dry fodder from the rain-watered field, but it ate fresh and dry fodder from an irrigated field, or that it dry fodder and afterward ate fresh fodder, we did not consider a blemish unless it eats the dry after the fresh.
Okay.
That's it, I think, right?
Okay, Sanhedrin. Yeah. Gimel base.
If he declared to him, my father is acceptable to me, or your father is acceptable to me, for these 3 cattle herders are acceptable to me, the mayor says he can retract. But the Kakaman say he cannot retract. Or if he was under an obligation of oath to another, and he said, vow to me to the life of your head, the mayor says he can retract. The sages, however, say he cannot retract. These are the ones who are disqualified: one who plays dice, one who lends on interest, pigeon flyers, shivas, merchants, said Red Shimon. Originally, they are called Shivas stockpiles. When the oppressors increase, they change to calling them Shivas merchants. Said Rabbi Yehuda, when they have no other trade, but if they are another trade, they are qualified. These are the ineligible relatives: his father and brother, his father's brother and mother's brother, his sister's husband, father, sister, husband, mother, sister's husband, his mother's husband, his father-in-law, and his brother-in-law. They, their sons, and their son-in-laws, and all their stepsons alone. Said Rabbi Yossi, this is the mission of Rabbi Akiva, but the original mission stated his uncle and his uncle's sons and all who are eligible to inherit him. This applies to all who are related at that time. If he was related and then became unrelated, he is eligible. Rabbi Yehuda says even if his daughter died and his children from her, he is a relative. A friend and an enemy.
That's it. We're done Sanhedrin. Sukkah. Sukkah Aleph.
We cover this. We may cover the sukkah with boards. These are the words of Rabbi Yehuda, but Rabbi forbids it. If one places the top of the board that is 4 handbreadths wide, the sukkah is valid, except that one may not sleep under the board. A roof that has no plaster on it, Rabbi Yehuda says, Beis Shammai says one loosens them and then removes every other board, but Rabbi Hillel says he either loosens them or removes every other one. Rabbi Meir says he removes every other one, but does not loosen them. If one moves the sukkah with spits or bedboards, if the space between them is equal to themselves, it is valid. And if one followed out a haystack to make a sukkah inside it, it is not a sukkah.
Okay. And
I keep thinking you have to go to daven, and I keep that's why I'm rushing.
No, I'm done.
But Shammai says in the evening, everyone must recline and read. In the morning, he must stand erect, since it is said, when you lie down and when you rise up. Beis Hillel says everyone may read as it suits him, since it says, and when you walk by the way. If so, why does it state, and so when you lie down and when you rise up? The time when people lie down and the time when people are up. But Tarfon said, I once was on the road and I reclined to read in the conformity with Beis Shammai, and I dated my life because of robbers. They said to him, you deserve to forfeit your life, since you did not act in accordance with the words of Beis Hillel. In the morning, one recites 2 blessings before it and 1 after it, and in the evening, 2 before it and 2 after it, 1 long and 1 short. Whenever they lay down a long formula, one is not permitted to shorten, or a short formula, one is not permitted to lengthen. To recite an end formula, one is forbidden not to recite the end formula, but where to recite an end formula, one is not permitted to recite an end formula. The Exodus is mentioned at night. Rabbi Eliezer ben Ariah says, behold, I am like a man of 70, and I was not married. The Exodus will be mentioned at night. And Paul says, gets the exact position. It is said that you may remember the day when you came forth out of Egypt, all the days of your life. The days of your life refer to the daytime, and all the days of your life include the nighttime as well. While it can come and say the days of your life refer to this world, and all the days of your life include the Masonic era as well.
Okay. And that's it.
Okay, great.
All right. We'll be in touch again tomorrow at the appropriate time.
Okay, just give me
Have
a
a lovely
call.
day.
Have a
Okay.
great day. Enjoy. Thank you.